This is Christian Duke, and this is my video mourning the murder of George Floyd. It took me several days to post on Facebook and Instagram. I wrote many posts, even a couple of articles. I've had, I don't know, something like 30 videos. The last one has something like 20 minutes long. And I'm just trying to find the words. I don't want to make it about me. I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to talk about looting. I simply want to say that George Floyd was murdered, that I demand justice for George Floyd. I know that one of the 4 officers was arrested. They all need to be arrested. The officer was charged with third-degree murder, which the prosecutors there say they've had success in prosecuting cops with before. Third-degree murder is a very watered-down charge of homicide. It cannot be punished by more than 25 years. I understand manslaughter is a second charge, which has, I would imagine, more intent. But again, I'm not familiar with Minnesota's laws, but you know, I feel that if you're going to undercharge out the gate, you know, when the defense plea deals, because they always plea deal unless they take it to trial. In a case like this, I cannot imagine that they would win, but it's possible. After a plea deal, I mean, the whole idea of a plea deal is compromise. There are 2 sides. They each have a strong position. They meet somewhere in the middle. Even if the prosecution only met them 25% of the way, 25% less than a watered-down crime is a travesty, you know. But the other 3 officers need to be arrested. They need to be charged. If the guiltiest, as I've heard some legal analysts from Minnesota say, got third-degree murder and manslaughter, I can only imagine what the other 3 lesser guilty officers. To me, it was almost a conspiracy, really. You know, whether, well, and not even a conspiracy. They all had their knee on George Floyd's back. At least 3 of them did. And if you stand there and watch and do nothing while the man is pleading for his life, while onlookers who have taken a lot of heat from people because they said, well, if I would have been there, I would have ripped the cops off. You probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't have. Let's be honest. You know, what we're seeing now in the streets is an America that none of us have seen before. You know, and I'm not, you know, encouraging that people, you know, go hands-on with law enforcement. But again, if you do see law enforcement murdering somebody, I think you're justified morally and legally, I feel, to, you know, preserve human life, I would think. Again, I feel very bad for the onlookers, though, because they are taking quite a beating in terms of public opinion. But thank God that it was caught on video, because that video is the only thing that's going to get what little bit of piecemeal justice it's going to get. I want to speak briefly on the fitness industry, and I would like to commend Becky Clausen and Linda Andrew for speaking up, as well as Mr. Olympia Brandon Curry, Flex Wheeler. I was very moved by that, and in turn it has inspired me to speak out as well. Normally I'm one of the first to speak out on matters such as this, and I don't believe that this is a political matter. This is murder. This is law enforcement throughout our country targeting people of color, violating their civil liberties, violating their civil rights. That is not political. And for all the people out there saying, oh, it's a time to love, we all bleed red, you know, those are the same people, you know, talking about the looting and talking about, you know, microwaves being taken at a Target, and while property damage is bad, I'm not here to talk about that. I just find it very interesting that all the people singing Kumbaya and preaching we all bleed red, none of them, if you look on their walls, have mentioned the death of George Floyd, the mourning for George Floyd, the murder of George Floyd, the call for justice for George Floyd. And these are also the same folks who are in an uproar when an athlete takes a knee during the national anthem. Coincidences? I don't know. That's not for me to say.